So if you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, or you've entered the rat race and you just can't get out of it, well, here are 10 tips for somebody that's living on a tight budget or paycheck to paycheck. Tip number 1, sit down and make a budget for yourself. A budget is a plan, your plan, on where you're going to spend your money and how you're going to spend your money. Creating this budget and this plan will give you the ability to identify the bad areas and cut back on those expenses that aren't necessarily needed and allow you to save money. Tip number 2 is simply cut back on the luxuries. This is one that I see a lot of people doing, and they could simply be saving hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, by cutting out the luxuries. And go back to tip number 1, your budget. For cutting out the luxuries, this could be groceries. You don't have to spend, $1,000 a month on groceries. Maybe you do, if that's going to be in your budget, but in a general sense, don't spend or overspend on groceries. You don't need to spend money on the nicest, clothes. You don't need to spend money on the nicest and newest cars, the newest iPhone, Apple Watch, whatever it may be. Those are high ticket items and that money adds up. That is one surefire way that you could cut costs to save money. Tip number 3 is using cash instead of credit. Now, I do feel as if credit, if you use it wisely, can help you. But if you are living on a tight budget, right now, for the sense of this video, use cash instead of credit. And as an easy rule of thumb, by using cash, you see the money leaving your account, you see how much you're spending, and it's more of an eye-opener on how much you do spend generally. Using a credit card, it's easy to overspend on the luxuries that you essentially cannot afford, or something that's just gonna set you back even farther. Tip number 4, shop the sales and use coupons. I know we've all heard of those shows where people go couponing and get a $400, shopping cart for $30. Now that's a little bit extreme, but if you use coupons when you're going grocery shopping, it can save you a pretty penny. Tip number 5, cook your meals at home. We don't need to go out and spend hundreds of dollars at, the nicest and newest steakhouse every month. You'll realize how much you can save by making and prepping your food at home. And honestly, it'll create a fun family experience when you're all in the kitchen making the meals together. And just a side note, when you make your meals at home, you know what's in them, but that's a whole nother video. Going out to the most expensive restaurant or ordering DoorDash, that adds up. That adds up to a lot of money. So simply setting yourself a budget, or go over for a week of groceries, go get what you need, nothing extra, and plan off of that throughout the week. And that is a very, very good way to save money throughout the month. Tip number 6 is eliminate the debt. Now I know if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that might seem intimidating, but by creating a budget, you'll be able to slowly start tackling these debts that you have. Say you have a credit card with 25% interest and you're making that payment, just a bare minimum payment, it's gonna take you 10, 20 years to pay that off. So by having that budget, you can set aside the money that you're going to be paying for these credit cards to eliminate that debt. Tackle whatever credit card you like. If you must use a credit card, only use one. You don't need 5 or 6 credit cards with 25% interest, and you're paying more in interest than you are in the actual principal payment. Tip number 7, simply live below your means. When you get that raise at work or that bonus at work, or do a side job and get a nice extra chunk of cash, don't go out and start splurging and spend it all. It's easy for us to do. I know it's exciting when you get a nice big paycheck or bonus to just go out and buy yourself that fancy watch or that phone that you wanted. But referring back to tip number 6, eliminating that debt, you take that money and slowly start chucking away at that debt. And again, living below your means. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses. This is about you. This is about you and your family and your successes and your saving habits and your spending habits. You don't need to go out and get what everybody else is getting. Tip number 8 is automate your savings. So within your budget, I'm sure you created a section where you're going to be saving X amount. I don't care if it's $10. If you automate that through your credit union or your bank, automate that process. They're gonna take $10 and put it in my savings, or take $10 and put it wherever I have it go. By automatically doing that, you won't even have to think about it. The money's gonna be automatically pulled out, and it's one less thing that you have to worry about doing. Tip number 9, cut back on your monthly bills. Call the insurance company, call the electric company, see if you can get on a budget plan. Switch to a cheaper cell phone plan. Maybe cut back on your grocery spending from $500 a month to $350 a month. Reducing your monthly bills is a great way to tackle your finances and allows more money to go into your pocket. Tip number 10, last but not least, stay motivated. Stay motivated, stay dedicated, and stay consistent. Keep the end goal in mind. Always know what you're working towards or what you're saving towards or why you're creating this budget and this plan. And I'm not saying you can't, reward yourself, because I definitely advise that you do. Treating yourself every once in a while is going to keep you staying motivated and disciplined. Do so. Find what works for you. Everyone has to find their own rhythm and what's going to work with the situation that they have. So saving money on a tight paycheck to paycheck budget, it is possible, and all it takes is discipline and a little bit of planning and goal setting to achieve the level that you want to be at. So I hope you enjoyed the 10 tips that I have for saving money on a tight budget. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.